Hey everyone, I think everybody is just joining us live right now. Just going to wait a few seconds for everybody to join in live. And if you've already joined in live, I would love for you to introduce yourself. Tell me where you're from. Hey Deepak, nice to see you again. I'm so happy that you're here. Good evening. Hope you're doing good. Also, a quick hygiene check, guys. If you can hear me, please type yes in the comment box so I have feedback. Hi, Dr. Manish. Nice to see you again. As and when you're joining in, would love to know where you're from. So please share which city you're from. Hi, Sunil. Nice to see you. Hey, Amit. Nice to see you. Where are you from? I would like everybody to know where you're from. So tell me which city you're from. Thank you for the feedback, guys, by the way. I'm glad that you can hear me loud and clear. Thank you so much for that. Hi, Shivakumar. Nice to see you. You're from Chennai. Yes. So in the meanwhile, before everybody else starts joining in, we're going through a very interesting phase of the lockdown right now. A lot of things are opening up. Slowly, I think life is getting there. A lot of establishments have opened up. A lot of people are starting, I wouldn't say starting to live a normal life, but at least it's crippling back. So hope all of you are doing good. If you're doing good and you're slowly getting back to normal, the new normal, let's put it that way. If you are, then please type yes. Would love to know where you're at right now. So please type yes if you're getting back to some sort of normalcy. In the meanwhile, everybody else who's joined in, please tell us where you're from. Hi Amit, like you're from Dodbalapur, Bangalore. Nice to see you. Hey Ritesh, you're from Mumbai. Awesome. Hey Nikki, you're from Surat, Gujarat. Awesome. Nice to see you here. Hey Rajesh, you're from Bangalore. Awesome. Good. So hoping all of you are doing good. Hoping that things are settling down for you and the new normalcy is settling in. It's been quite interesting. A lot of businesses have opened up. I've been getting a lot of feedback from people that yes, it's not easy, no doubt about that. I'm never going to deny the fact that it's obviously not easy. Having said that, because things are opening up, there's a lot more hope, there's a lot more optimism, and as a result of that, people are finding new ways, they're innovating, and they're getting back to normal. So today's Facebook Live is a very, very exclusive live, especially if you're in a situation where you want to start a new business for yourself. And I want to just set the context for all of you as to why I'm doing this live in the first place. So to give you a little bit of background about myself, some of you already know me, some of you don't. But in case you don't know me, I would love to give you a little bit of a background. I've been in business for the last about 13 to 14 years. I specifically started off in the year 2006, 2007. And in my journey of business, I've started a total of 5 businesses. Okay, I've run 5 businesses so far. Right now I'm running 2. One I gave away and 2 shut down. Okay, because of bad business decisions and because obviously we as business partners didn't run it. Me, my business partners, Rajiv Talreja and Pranav Kumar Reddy, when we started off, we had just one business and we, like any entrepreneur, have made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of breakdowns and did many things wrong. And over these 13 to 14 years, because I've had 2 business failures, and right now my 2 organizations, Quantum Leap Learning Solutions Private Limited and Dreamcatcher Investments, which is an investment firm, is doing really, really well with God's grace, and we're able to move forward and really contribute to a lot of people. Having said that, what I've really found out is that there are so many people, when they want to start their business, they make some very critical mistakes. And I'm openly saying, having the fortune of going through a lot of startup failures and having worked and handheld more than 1,000 businesses on a one-to-one level across 180 domains across 6 countries. So I think I've got a fair idea right now for myself as to what works and what doesn't work, especially when you need to start off. And My intention of having this live is specifically for all the people out there who want to start their business, and specifically if you're in a job right now. Yeah, some of you, Amit, you just mentioned that you're working for an MNC, but you plan to start on your own. So, someone like you, someone else who's probably just started off and is still finding their bearing as to how do I go about doing it. I want to spend this live on that section, on that section of people specifically, and to also give you a little more insight on this. What I really want to focus on over here is the right mindset. Okay, the right mindset, and I tell you why. So I find a big dilemma when it comes to a lot of people who want to start their own business. They want to start, but don't have the right mindset required for business to start, especially if you're in a job right now. And one thing I want to establish over here is that a mindset which you need to have when you're in a job and the mindset you need to have when you're in a business is totally different. Now, before I tell you the difference between the two, which is the focus of today's live, to tell you what's the right mindset to have for you to start a new business, I want to establish that job and business have their own place, and one is not less than the other, one is not more than the other. Both are separate vehicles, and both have separate approaches for you to use it. Like for a simple example, if you look at a bike and a car, they're both separate vehicles, and you cannot ride a bike in the same way you drive a car. Of course, you're on the road, but your approach needs to be completely different. And people make a big mistake by using a job approach and a business approach, and that really doesn't work. My intention today is to really show you what are the mistakes which people make in the mindset they have while they start their own business, so that you know exactly what to do and what not to do when you're ready to start off. Because you need to really understand that the approach is completely different. So everybody out there, are you ready to start learning what's the right mindset you need to have, and how is it different from a job mindset for you to become an entrepreneur? If you're ready, I would like all of you to type a yes in the comment box. Come on, go for it. Awesome, guys. So thank you so much for that. Here's what I'm going to start off with, and I'm going to tell you why mindset first of all. All right. Like one of my mentors, Steve Havaka, really rightly always says, the roots define the fruits. And in very simple words, in this case, the roots is your mindset. Okay. And irrespective of whatever skills you have, which is extremely important, irrespective of whatever capabilities and knowledge you have, which is also extremely important. All right. The mindset is a predominant foundation based on which you're able to really know in which direction to go to. And I'll tell you why this is important. Your mindset has a big impact on your beliefs, okay, your thought patterns, the way you think, what you believe, your perceptions. And your beliefs has a big impact on your actions, and your actions have a big impact on your results. So the roots define the fruits. So if your mindset is not in the right direction for you to be prepared to start your own business, the result is not going to be that great. And there are so many people who make this classic mistake of starting their business with a job mindset. And in today's Facebook Live, I want to establish what really is the difference between a job mindset and the business mindset, so that all of you are prepared and you're a lot more geared up for you to start your own business. So are you ready to start learning, everybody? If you're ready to start learning right now, to what's the right mindset for you to start your own business, please type learning in the comment box. Go for it. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. So what is the difference between a job mindset and a business mindset? Let me start with the most basic one. Okay, when you're in a job, ultimately you're getting paid for the time you are spending in that job. All right, your employer is paying you their salary not because of your capability, but because of the time you spend. I want to make that very clear. And why I'm saying this is that I'm not saying that capability is not important when it comes to a job, but your performance in your job is a direct function of your capability. But the salary you get in that coming year is a direct function of the time you spend, which simply means that if you do not invest time in a job, you're not going to get your money, you're not going to get salary. So no time equals no money. And that works in a job. I'm not saying that capability is not important. Of course, your performance appraisals are dependent on your capability, on your performance. But bottom line, please understand this. Your money which you make in a job is clearly a dependency on the time you invest. If you don't go to work in a job, you are not going to get paid. Now, how is this different from a business? And I really want to emphasize on this difference. In business, you do not get paid for your time. You get paid because of the value you add, which is a function of your capability. Irrespective of that, you need to invest time. So what I'm trying to establish as a difference over here is that what you earn in a business is not a function of your time. You got to invest that time no matter what. It's the value you add in for your clients and because of your capabilities. The reason why people actually pay you is the reason why you earn money. And a big mistake which people make when they start off their own business is having that mindset that their business should give them returns because they're investing time. Here, I'm going to give you an honest truth over here, guys. If you are in this deception that when you start off, especially when you're starting off a business, you're going to have all the time in the world because you are your own boss. Wake up and smell the coffee, my friends. It's not going to happen, because you go ask any entrepreneur out there who started off, they probably invest more time than ever in their life when they're starting up their business, because they don't know what's going to happen. It's a lot of uncertainty. It's a lot of trial and error. And ultimately, you're not going to get paid because of your time. It doesn't matter how many times you burn the midnight oil. It doesn't matter how much effort you put in. You will get paid because of the value you add to your clients, which is a function of your capability. So one thing which I want to establish: job, you get paid because of time. Business, you get paid because of value, which is a function of capability. If this makes sense for you, please type capability in the comment box. Come on. Okay, thank you so much for that, everybody. And it's very, very important for you to understand that you need to have that mindset and be ready that it's not about time. Okay. Of course, a desire as an entrepreneur is to make sure that you have time at your beck and call, which means that you have flexibility of time and you don't have to invest time, as an obligation. I'll tell you what, that will happen as the result of how successful your business is. Of course, it's an eventual destination you want to get to that you don't have to invest time, but you got to build your business till that level. And in the beginning, it's a dream which will not come true, because if you're expecting you to not invest time and money to just start pouring in right at the beginning, wake up. It's a dream which is never going to be a reality. You need to invest the time. Go ask any entrepreneur who's made it in life. They will tell you that time, the luxury of time in the beginning of their entrepreneurship journey was a distant dream and a luxury which no one could afford. And I'm telling you this out of my own experience also. So bottom line, you need to ensure that you're willing to spend that time and not expect money in return. On the other hand, let me tell you another distinction between job and business. All right, guys, in the meanwhile, while I'm sharing all these distinctions, if you have a lot of questions, I'm going to spend some time at the end of my section for today answering a lot of questions for you. So hold up on the questions till then. I am going to give you time for you to ask a lot of questions in the comment box, and I'm going to try to answer as many questions as possible. But I really want to make sure that I give you these distinctions between the job mindset and the business mindset, so you have the right roots to get the fruits you want. All right. So let's go into the second distinction. Okay, what is the real difference between the mindset of a job and the mindset while starting a business? Now, in a job, let's understand how your payment comes in. How do you earn money? All right. Your payment is consistent no matter what. Of course, today's situation is different. People are losing a lot of their jobs, but in a sense, when you're a part of a job in a secure organization which is doing well and is paying you consistently for your time, the keyword over there is consistently, which means month on month, on the first of the month or the second of the month or the fifth of the month or whatever time your company pays you, no matter what, you will get your money, you will get your salary at the end of the month. And that works very, very differently when it comes to a business. And a big mistake which a lot of people make when they start off their business is that they expect immediate returns. They expect making money on the day one, if not the day one, probably in 2 months, probably in 3 months. I'm not saying you can't make money, but you need to understand that it is a journey for you to reach a situation where you start making money in the first place. And then after you start making money, the next goal is to start making consistent amount of money. Walking in with the mindset when you're in business to start making consistent money every single month, if you achieve that is great, but you know, got to be very honest with yourself about this, that it's a reality which is really, really hard, and you got to be willing to understand that money in the beginning will be inconsistent. The goal is to make it consistent. And once you make it consistent, then honestly speaking, you're in a situation where your time, your money which you receive from your business is not a function of your time. It reaches a certain stability mode that money starts coming in automatically. But till you reach that stage, money can be inconsistent, and you as an entrepreneur need to be ready for this. So big difference between job and business, guys. Job, there is consistency of money. Business, in the beginning, there is inconsistency, but the goal is to make sure that it's consistent. That's when you've reached a certain stage of stability. Now, if that made sense to you, please type consistent income in the comment box so I know you've understood what I just said. Come on, go for it. Okay, thank you so much for that, everybody. Moving to the third distinction right now. What is the difference in the mindset when you're in a job, and how is it different in your mindset when you're when you're starting off a business? Now, when it comes to a job, one thing which really people honor or value in a job is that they get this sense of security that no matter what, every month they are going to get their salary, which means that financial analysis, financial forecasting, budgeting, planning, savings become a lot more simpler to a large extent, because they know for a fact that there's a fixed income coming and everybody can obviously plan a lot more better. And that's the concept of a salary, that your pay is guaranteed. That's why it's called a salary. And a big mistake which again people do while they start up their own business is expecting a salary mechanism to work while they're in business. I'm sorry to bust the bubble with all of you guys that salary in a business is a myth. I'll tell you what I mean. Salary is guaranteed. Now your goal is to take your business to a level where you're able to remove money from your business consistently, no matter what. And that's not in the form of salary. That's in the form of profits. That's the reason why you get into a business in the first place. But a big assumption, which is a big misconception which a lot of people have when they start off especially, is that they're expecting to draw salary on a month-to-month basis from their business so that they can survive, so that they can run the show, so that they can live their lives the way they were living before, especially when people are transitioning from a job into a business. It doesn't work like that, my friends, because when it comes to a business, remember, it's not a salary, it's ownership, which means you own the business, which means you are responsible for what you earn. So it's not about salary, it's about income, and income needs to be earned. Income comes on the table when you get enough customers, when you service your customers with value, you do this consistently, you pay all the expenditures you go through to serve your customers, and then what is left over at the end is the income you generate for yourself in the form of a profit. So it's not about salary, it's about profit. Now, to be very honest with you, once your business grows and you reach a stage where your business is scaling, then it is a good idea to start drawing a salary from your business because of the time you're investing in that business. But to reach that level, you got to build your business that there is consistent amount of revenue which you're generating no matter what, that you can afford to draw a salary in the first place and take a profit. But having that expectation right in the first go, when nothing is solid, nothing is established, and you're still struggling to validate your business model, to test whether your business model is working or not, and to actually earn income out of it, is honestly a big deception you're going to be in. So remember the big difference. Job equals to salary. Business equals to income, which means that you are responsible for putting money on the table for yourself when you're in business. If you understood what I just said, please type income please type earning income in the comment box so that I know that you've got it. Come on, go for it. I want you to type earning income. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, so before I move forward to the remaining distinctions, let me just review what we've spoken about so far, so all of you on the same page. What is the difference between a job mindset and a business mindset? Difference number one, in a job, you get paid for your time, which means that you are getting your money because of the investment of time you are making. Your performance is a function of your capability, but you get paid because of time primarily. In a business, you're not getting paid because of your time. You are getting paid because of the value you are adding to your customers. You're getting paid because of because due to your capability, you're able to add that value, and you got to invest that time no matter what. That's the first difference. Second difference between a job mindset and a business mindset. In a job, you will get consistent income. That's the whole approach of a job. And no matter what, depending upon the situation, every month you get your income, every month you get your salary, and there's a guaranteed pay. But when it comes to a business, the income and the money you earn is obviously inconsistent. You got to earn it. Now you want to make sure that your business reaches a stage where your money which you earn is consistent. But in the beginning, it will be inconsistent till you reach that stability. The third difference between a job mindset and a business mindset is that in a job, you do have a sense of security that no matter what, every month you are going to get that salary at the end of the month, no matter what, for you to plan your life. But when it comes to a business, you do not have that security, because a business is about ownership. You are the owner, which means that you are responsible for putting money on the table, which means you got to earn it. And when you earn money, it's income. When you get paid for your time, it's salary. So this big distinction between job and business is salary versus income. Is everybody with me? If you are with me so far, please type a yes in the comment box so that I know we're on the same page. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. So moving on, I have three more distinctions to give you. And I'll tell you why these distinctions are so critical. Because you starting a business without the right mindset is like you choosing a wrong vehicle to reach to go to a wrong destination. Let me give an example. Let's just say if you decide that you want to go to Ladakh, okay, and you understand the roads which you need to drive through to go to Ladakh, and you choose to take an old Khatara Maruti Omni, which doesn't even work and has a lot of battery problems. I promise you that the amount of breakdowns you're going to have on the way, the amount of challenges you're going to have on the way is insane. And in all probability, forget Ladakh, you're not even going to make it halfway. Similarly, you got to have the right approach to use the vehicle of business, which is very different from a job. And not having the right mindset leads to people making a lot of mistakes, making a lot of bad decisions, making a lot of bad investment options, choosing the wrong business, getting carried away in ego and with that title that they want to become an entrepreneur. And eventually they start suffering because bottom line, they're not making the kind of money they expected to make when they started off their business. And the life's become a lot more tougher than it was before. So the only reason why I'm sharing these differences with you is to know that what's the right mindset to start. And I'm hoping that so far what I'm sharing is useful to you. If it is useful, please type useful in the comment box. Come on. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for that. I have three more distinctions to give you. So what's the difference in mindset between job and business? Now, a job is a vehicle to earn a living. Let me explain to you what I mean. If you're in a situation where your desires are enough, you want to be in a situation of life where for you what is important is for you to earn enough money for you to live the kind of life you're leading right now. And with time, as and when your lifestyle increases, you want to make sure that you earn enough money to fulfill the needs of those lifestyle, then a job is for you. And that mentality is very different, because you go to a job, you go and work to get a salary, and that's enough for you to earn a living. But if you walk into business with the mindset of earning a living, that's again the wrong vehicle for you, because business is not about earning a living. And that's why it's an upward trend once you do the right things. A business, the sole purpose of why you get into business is to generate wealth, which means that it is a vehicle to create wealth. It's a vehicle for growth. It's a vehicle for abundance. And that is going to be a direct function of how you build your business, what sort of business idea you choose, what sort of business model you choose, and how you're going to scale up your business. So it's going to be a very big mistake for you to get into business with the mindset of earning a living. And I've seen this happening with so many people. They have this mentality that when they start their business, their only goal is that if I can make enough money to fulfill the requirements of my life currently, which means that I make enough money to pay my EMIs, to pay my rent, to pay my household expenses, and to live the lifestyle I'm living right now, I am happy. And my only question to you, if you are that kind of a person, is that if that's what you wanted, why did you get into business in the first place? A better option is a job, because in a job, you don't have to take a financial risk. In a job, your money is guaranteed, which means that there's no risk of what money is coming in. In a job, it's a clear, direct function of your time, and the pressure is very, very different. So if you're going to get into business for the sake of earning a living, then it's a bad mistake. It's a bad reason for you to get into business in the first place. Business is a vehicle for creating growth, which is about you creating wealth, which is about creating abundance. And having that mindset right in the beginning is extremely important, because that's when you're willing to play the game long term. I've seen so many people who fizzle out right in the beginning. I mean, I'm talking about fizzling out. I'm saying 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. That's all a very short time. No, wealth doesn't come easy. It takes years and years for you to build. But people don't have the patience, and people don't have the grit and determination to take it all the way, because they're expecting quick returns so that they're able to run their life. Be clear. Business is a vehicle for wealth. Business is a vehicle for abundance. And it's about taking it all the way. Now, to take it all the way, it is important for you to do the right things, which means you got to have the right business model. You got to have the right business idea when you're starting in the first place, and you got to develop the right kind of skills, and you got to gain the right kind of knowledge required for you to make sure that you build your business. All right. And I find a lot of people coming to me asking me, even on these comments right now, that what is the right business to start? How do I go about starting this so that I build my business for long term? All right. So for those of you who are really interested in that, something which I want to share with all of you is that on the 30th of May, which is a Saturday, that's the next Saturday from now, the 30th of May, I'm doing a webinar which is called a business startup webinar. And the sole focus of that webinar is to teach people what is the required foundation which you need for you to start your business. What are the 4 mistakes which people make, the classic 4 mistakes which people make, because of which they don't take off their business, and what are the focus areas, the 3 focus areas you need to focus on for you to get in a situation to start a profitable business. This webinar is happening on the 30th of May between 11 to 1 p.m. The link of this webinar is going to be posted by my team member, and it's also a part of the description of this live. If you want to learn how to start a business which is profitable from scratch, do register for the webinar, because my focus area for that is going to show you how you can set yourself on the path for you to select the right business idea, for you to have the right kind of foundational capability, and build the right kind of model for you to build a successful and a profitable business, because that's the start point. But you need to understand this, that that's what it'll take you for you to generate your wealth. The right business idea, the right business model, the right domain knowledge, the right capabilities, the right functional implementation, the right strategy. There is so much to it. And that's why it's an engine for you to generate wealth. If it's about earning a living for you, then honestly, a job is a better option. So you got to walk in with the right mindset, because beliefs lead to actions, actions lead to results. And the beliefs is caused because of your mindset. So please keep that in mind. If you're with me so far, please type generate wealth in the comment box. Thank you so much, guys. 2 more to go before I start answering your questions. So what are the other differences between mindset when it comes to a job and a business? Now, in a job, ultimately, the job is dependent on you, which means that if you are physically not there for you to do what is required to be done, ultimately the job doesn't get done, which means the predominant, I would say, foundation of a job is that you have to do the work. Now, that's very, very different when it comes to a business. And let me explain to you what's the difference, and I want you to hear what I'm saying very, very carefully. When it comes to a business, in the beginning, it obviously will be dependent on you, because when you're starting off, you got to build the foundation, you got to build the structures, you got to build the processes, you got to acquire the customers, you got to service all the customers, and you got to come to a stage where your business is stable. But once your business starts becoming stable, the goal of business is to make sure that it's independent. I repeat, it's independent of you, which is where the requirement of hiring people comes into picture, which is where the requirement of building systems in your business comes into picture, so you can focus on scaling up your business strategically for you to start earning more wealth. The reason why I'm saying this to you right now is that while you start off your business in the first place, you need to start your business having that intention in mind that you got to take your business from dependent to independent, which means that it needs to run without you. And the big mistake which a lot of business owners make is that they don't even think about this when they start off their business. For them, they look at business as an engine or a vehicle which they have to do for the rest of their lives. And I'm sharing this sort of personal experience also because I'll give you a story of my dad, okay? My dad has been an entrepreneur for more than 40 years of his life, and he ran a Raymond showroom which was started by my grandfather for 37 years. And he wound up the showroom about 7 years back, all right, because the lease got done. And I asked him a simple question at that point in time, because I was also an entrepreneur and I was in my struggle phase at that point in time. I asked him, so what has been your experience of business? Did you enjoy it? Did you get the kind of freedom, etc., etc.? Did you make the kind of money you wanted? And he told me that, son, honestly, for me, my business was like jail. Because I had a Raymond showroom, I always had this belief that if I don't go to the showroom, no one's going to do the work properly. And if I don't go there, my staff will not sell properly. And as a result of that, my business won't do well. Sometimes I used to think, what I did I make the right decision of getting into business in the first place? Because I'm always stuck. I can't come home on time. I can't come for lunch on time. I can't take a holiday when I want. So what's the point? And this is a man who was in business for 40 years. 40 years. So that's a very, very, very significant time. So here's what I'm trying to say, guys. When you get into business, please understand that the intention of business is to take it to a situation where the business is independent of you. But in the beginning, it will be dependent. I completely understand. But you've got to start your business having that mindset and taking it in the right direction. If not, a job is better, because a job is permanently going to be dependent on you. And that's a big distinction you got to make while you're starting off. If you're with me based on what I shared, please type independent in the chat box, in the comment box rather. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for that. Now, coming to the last distinction between job and business, all right? Here's the deal. In a job, you have a boss, which means that the accountability is really, really high, which means that there's someone to check on what you're doing. There's someone to monitor what you're doing. There's someone to supervise what you're doing. There is someone to hold you accountable when you have breakdowns. There's someone to give you feedback. There's someone to mentor you. There's someone to guide you. There is a structure to make sure that you are put in the right direction. But when it comes to a business, please understand this simple distinction. It's not, the accountability becomes from you. In a job, the accountability is high because you have a boss, and the boss is not going to take it if you don't do your job, because ultimately they are paying you a salary, which means that you are trading your time for money. But when it comes to a business, you are your own boss, which means that what works is self-accountability. You are the owner, which means you're the only person who can hold yourself accountable, and you got to depend on external sources for you to get guidance, hand-holding, mentoring through experts, trainers, coaches, consultants, whatever works for you. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for your business, which means that the only way for you to exercise accountability is self-accountability. And that's where so many people get it wrong. I mean, it is insane that the number of people who started a business and fail, they fail because they don't do what is supposed to be done. They don't have the discipline to take action. They don't have the right kind of strength to do the right thing at the right time, because they experience lack of accountability. And they feel that if I had a boss for me to make sure that they belt me or even, hold me accountable when I'm not doing my job, maybe I would have performed better. I'm going to say this to you very, very clearly, guys. If you need someone to be behind you to make sure that you do your job, if you need someone to constantly motivate you and inspire you when you're in a business for you to do your job, then honestly, business is not for you. You better take a job. Because if you notice, I kept using this word, to do your job, to do your job, to do your job. Because you're treating it like a job. And that doesn't work when it comes to business. In a job, you can afford that. I sincerely believe this, that if you need motivation to do your own business, irrespective of what breakdowns you're going through, I'm being very honest with you. I understand a lot of people tell me that, how can I be motivated when I'm not making money? Well, that's the journey of business, my friends. You got to be motivated enough for you to come to a stage where you start making money. All right. That's the whole journey of business, so that you do the right things, you put in the right kind of investment of time, you put in the right kind of investment of capability to serve your customers better. Bottom line, you cannot need motivation to run your own business, because if you need motivation for that, then don't do that business. All right. So it's very, very different. You are responsible for holding yourself accountable. You are your own boss. There cannot be someone behind you to get the job done. And making this simple distinction with your mindset is so important when you start your own business. So if you got what I'm saying and you're with me, guys, please type be your own boss, or rather just type boss to make it easier on the comment box. Come on, go for it. Awesome, guys. So 6 distinctions between a job and a business. So I'm going to review all of this for all of you, right? What are the 6 distinctions which we spoke about? The first distinction between a job and a business. In a job, you get paid for your time. Your performance is a function of your capability. If you don't give in the time, you don't get paid. In a business, you get paid for the value you add to customers. And that value is dependent on your capability, not based on your time. You got to invest your time anyway. That's distinction number 1. Distinction number 2, in a job, you get paid consistently and you can expect that consistency in income. When it comes to a business, in the beginning, usually it's inconsistent because it's a complete direct proportional return on the effort you put in. It is dependent purely on the client you have. It's dependent purely on the effort you put in. The goal is to make it consistent. That's when you know that your business has become stable. But in the beginning, it will be inconsistent till you reach a stage of stability. The third distinction, in a job, you have security. Your pay is guaranteed, and that's the whole that's the whole principle of a salary. That's the base on which it works. But when it comes to a business, there is no guarantees, my friends. There is no security. You create your own security. Ultimately, you are the owner and you are responsible for putting money on the table. And that's why you need to earn your income. And income is very, very different from salary. The fourth distinction between a job and a business is that in a job, the purpose of a job is to earn a living, where you make enough money to make sure that you're living the lifestyle you want to lead. And as and when you grow in your career, in your job, your lifestyle will also grow. But the intention is to earn enough money to run your life. When it comes to a business, that's not the reason why you get into business. And therefore, the mindset needs to be different. When it comes to a business, what is very, very clear is that the outcome of business is to generate wealth, to create growth, and to create abundance for yourself, which means that it cannot be about survival. It cannot be about earning a living. You need to know right in the beginning that the purpose of you getting into business is to generate wealth for yourself. Otherwise, the whole point of business is lost. Distinction number 5, a job is always going to be dependent on you. If you are not there, the job doesn't get done. When it comes to a business, in the beginning, it will be dependent on you, but you need to start your business keeping in mind that you have a long-term vision within a few years to make sure that your business is independent on you. Otherwise, the whole point of business goes completely out the window. If after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, how many more years, if your business is still dependent on you, that means a job would have been a better option. So you got to start with that mindset right in the beginning. And distinction number 6, when it comes to a job, you have a boss, which means the accountability is high. There's someone to hold you accountable so you do your job. But when it comes to a business, please understand this, you are your own boss, which means that the only person who can hold you accountable is you. And therefore, you got to have the determination, you got to have the commitment, you got to have the motivation, you got to have the drive to make sure that you hold yourself accountable. And there are multiple ways of doing it, so that you do what you're supposed to do to grow your business. So how many of you have learned a lot so far? If you've learned a lot, please type learned. Please type learned a lot in the comment box for me. Thank you so much. I'll tell you something based on my experience. Before I start, I am going to answer a lot of questions right now. So if you want some of your questions answered, I'll be more than happy to answer it. So please start typing your questions in the comment box and I'm going to go one by one. But before I start answering questions, something which I want to tell you. I have seen so many business owners. I want to remind you again, I've trained more than 5,000 business owners on building business systems for their businesses. I've handheld more than 1,000 business owners. I've also worked with people who are in a job. I've trained more than 170 plus corporate organizations. I've trained more than 2 lakh people who are employees and professionals in multiple corporate organizations. So I understand how both worlds work. And I've seen so many people who transition from a job into a business. And when they're transitioning into the job, they have the same mindset what works in a job while they walk into business. Again, to summarize what I just shared, what got you here will not get you there. which basically means that you cannot apply your job mindset in a business. And therefore, you would have a different mindset when you start your business, and that creates the foundation for you to build a truly profitable business. So hope that was valuable for you. And for everybody out there, if you really want to learn what does it take for you to start a profitable business, especially when you're transitioning from a job, or even if you're starting from scratch. Like I said earlier, on the 30th of May, I'm doing a webinar. It's called a Business Startup Webinar. It's a Saturday. It's happening from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The link is already mentioned over there for you. Please register for it, because I'm going to be covering the 4 mistakes which usually people make while they start up their business, and what to avoid, and what is the right thing to do in that case also, and also what are the 3 focus areas you've got to focus on when you're starting your business to make sure that it turns out to be profitable. It's a completely free webinar, so please join me over there so that I can actually share with you how you need to move forward. And now it's time to answer your questions. So let me go right in the beginning and see what are the questions people are asking me. And in the meanwhile, guys, if you still want your questions answered, please type it in the comment box so you can answer as many questions as possible. So Abhishek asked this question: do we need to have financial knowledge to start up? Here's my answer to that. Not much, to be very honest. I'll tell you what knowledge you need to have. You need to have domain knowledge. Very, very critical. I am not a big fan of starting with a business if you don't know what you're doing, which means that whatever product or whatever service you are ultimately selling or promoting, you've got to be an expert in that. Financial knowledge, I think in the beginning, it's easier. What is the financial knowledge you're going to need in the beginning when you start? You basically need to understand how basic finances work. Profits, losses, investments, etc., etc. You got to be able to be in a situation where you know how much of money is put in, how it is being utilized. So what are the expenses you are budgeting for the month, for the quarter, for the year? You got to be in a situation where you start understanding how to project how much revenue is going to come in, which is a function of your marketing and sales. And you got to know how to use the right money in the right way. And to evaluate all this, I think it's easier to work with an accountant or a financial consultant in the beginning. They come at a very reasonable price, and you rather focus on your building a business than focus on the financial part, especially in the beginning over there. So I don't think it's a requirement. If not, a lot of people wouldn't have started their business. Is this something which you need to learn on the go? Agreed. What you need to learn is to have the ability to analyze your finances so that you know whether you're going in the right direction or not. Having said that, I don't think it's a requirement for you to start a business. You can outsource that to gain the kind of advice which is required for you to make your decisions. So, Abhishek, that was for you. Moving on. Okay. Amit is asking this question. Rather, before that, Joshua asked this question. Any business to start with zero investment? Oh, there are lots. There are so many. In fact, you can, like, at the end of the day, when I'm saying zero investment, let me tell you something, okay? There is something for you to always invest in business. There are 4 things according to me you should invest in business: time, money, effort, energy. Now, can you start off with zero investment? Yes. But if you're starting off with zero investment, please remember that there will be a lot of dependency on you. You will be in a situation where you have to do the legwork. And bottom line, that cannot be a product business to a large case, because when you're developing a product, obviously you need to invest money. So if you're looking for a business with zero investment, it's better to get into the service sector. And that service has to be something which you're already good at, which means that you're going to have the capability for you to deliver that service. And then you've got to have the ability and skills and knowledge in your own to market yourself, because otherwise you've got to spend money to help you in marketing and sales. So if you want to start with zero investment, you need to be clear that you need to have a lot of capabilities inbuilt with you. Domain capabilities for you to provide your service, and functional capabilities, specifically talking about marketing, sales, and servicing, the operations part. You need to have that with you so that you can start off on your own. On the other hand, Joshua, to be honest, that when you're growing your business, ultimately there'll be a limitation to how much you can do, because you also have 24 hours in a day. You have 2 hands, you have 2 legs, you have 1 head. So there's a limit to what you can do. And when you grow, you will come to a situation that you will want to spend your time on higher priority tasks, which is to bring in more customers and grow your business. And at that point in time, you will need to spend money. But at that point in time, you'll be a lot more confident to spend money because you've been earning money so far, so you know that you can spend it. So these are phases which you go through, but there are multiple businesses you can start off. In fact, as a part of my curriculum, or when people apply for my courses, I give them over 70 business ideas in my online courses, which they can gain access to, which can help them to start off a business even with zero investment. In fact, these 70 business ideas which I'm talking about are based on 2 parameters: domain capability, and investment capability. So I have a section in my courses where there are certain businesses which require low domain capability and low investment capability. And there are certain businesses which have low domain capability and high investments, low investments and high domain, high investments and high domain knowledge. So all four categories are there, so that you are in a situation to map your current capabilities to the right business idea and for you to make a decision what's the right business for you. So once you come for the webinar, you'll know how to go about doing it. Having said that, there are enough businesses, especially for the post-COVID era, for you to choose, which can be low investment and high capability dependent for you to start off. So Joshua, that was for you. Amit asked this question. Now I'm earning close to 3 lakhs a month. Is it a right way to start in the name of my wife? Once it is successful, I can leave the job and do the business full time. I really believe that's a good strategy, Amit. Here's what I have for everybody as a simple suggestion if they want to start off a business and transition from a job. Do not quit your job. Quit your job only when you know for a fact that your business has come to a stage where it's giving you, if not the same, at least a little lesser income than what you are getting from your job, so that you know for a fact that you can run your life. If it reaches that stage, then you quit. And in the meanwhile, you got to stretch over the weekend. You got to make sure that you stretch after work. You have people to help you. It could be a wife, it could be a sibling, it could be whomever in your family. Not a problem at all. But bottom line, don't quit your job. I find a lot of people making this mistake where they quit their job even before they start, because they have this delusion that they'll get more time. And most of these people don't even know what to do with their time because their business is not even taken off. So Amit, very, very straightforward. Please launch your business. Please test your business. Please go validate whether it works. Go get a few customers. Start making money. Come to a stage where your business is making at least say 60 to 70% at least of your salary right now, or at least giving you enough money for you to run your life. And then you can take that jump. All right. So Amit, that was for you. Sunny, he asked this question. I want to start a bike rental startup in Chennai. What could be the legal issues? So Sunny, to be honest, I'm not the right person to answer that because I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a legal expertise, and I'm not going to share with you any advice which I don't think I'm good at. That's my simple philosophy. My recommendation would be is to take legal counsel for this, because the legal issues which you may face can be many. As common sense stuff, you need to have proper agreements in place about people renting up bikes, about damages, about cops, about pollution. There are so many factors for you to consider that so that you can run this in the right way. So my suggestion is get in touch with the lawyer who can give you this advice so that you know what are the legal steps you got to take to safeguard yourself. Thank you for that, Sunny. Nikki asked this question. Business is a vehicle which carries you towards your goal and wealth goal. What if the gear system is not changing and you are stuck? As one of your services has come to a halt and you don't know how to start or revive again. What should we do in this situation, considering that the service makes a huge impact and boost our financial strength? Nikki, I'm going to be honest with you. There are a lot of people in this situation. And especially right now, there are a lot of services which have become redundant and cannot continue in the way it has to continue. So my suggestion to you is to really explore what needs to change. Sitting down and getting stuck to what you were doing before in today's situation will be a very, very, very wrong approach to take. You got to reinvent yourself. The most common word which people use is pivot. So pivot, okay, but the question to ask is how to pivot. So here's my suggestion. Go back to your customers, do research on what are their needs post-COVID. What are the pain points post-COVID? What are the problems they have, which you have the capability to solve within your domain, and reinvent your services to solve and address those needs, problems, pain points, and desires. If you feel that your current domain is not enough for you to serve the current needs, problems, and desires of your current customers, then look for a different profile of customers. Change your business model. Look for a different profile. If you're in B2B, explore B2C. If you're in B2C, explore B2B. You can go both ways. And look at, basically what I would suggest for you to do is to go back to ground reality. Look at your current capabilities. Look at your strengths. It could be financial strengths, financial capacity, functional capability, domain capability, and see where else can you take this and how else can you modify it to serve other people's needs and problems, and build from there. One thing which I want to state out, have businesses suffered? No doubt about it. That is a fact and everybody knows about it. But does that mean that businesses are not going to thrive again? Honestly, today the reason why businesses are not thriving is because there are limitations to how much movement we can do. Essential goods are thriving like no other. Liquor shops are thriving like never before. So businesses are thriving. I'm not saying get into liquor business. My point is that business will thrive, but you got to reinvent. You got to modify your approach. You got to change your business model. You got to change and modify your product offerings. You got to innovate and add more value than you're doing right now, because needs, desires, and problems will change. Market expectation will change. And truth about this, Nikki, is that this has always been the norm for hundreds of years. Markets are always going to change. Customers' needs are always going to change. This situation just put us in this spot that we are forced to look at it. So take an opportunity of it and see how you can reinvent. A lot of people are doing that. So that's my direction to you, Nikki. Thank you so much for that. Jonathan, you asked this question. Hi, Karan. I started my business 2 years ago. However, I'm still at the survival stage. I'm struggling to fix the right business model for my business. How do I get this right? How do I know it is right? All right. So, Jonathan, here's my suggestion. In your case, let me first give you a little bit of a crash course on business model. What is a business model really? It's an integration of 3 elements. It's the customer, it's the product and service, and it's the finances you make due to the transaction. So all these 3 need to be integrated, which means that you need to have the right customer, you need to have the right product and service serving the needs and desires of the right customer. You got to make sure there's profitability in the transaction, every transaction with your customer. And you need to know and have the confidence that when you scale up these operations, you can make a lot more money. And only when all these parameters are taken care of in the business, that's when you know that you have the right business model. And you can have multiple models in one business itself. So my suggestion is that if you're in survival stage, and I'm assuming survival stage basically means that you have to put in a lot of effort for you to get customers. I think it's 2 sections which you need to innovate. You've got to see if your products and services are actually catering to needs and problems of your customer, which they're willing to pay for. And if they're not willing to pay for, then probably you got to change your customer. That's the one change I would like you to explore in your business model. Explore it. And like I mentioned even for Nikki, if you're in B2C, try exploring B2B, or within B2C itself, start exploring different profiles. Or if you're in B2B, start exploring B2C. There are multiple combinations you can explore. On the other hand, usually people who are in struggles phase, let me explain to you what struggles is according to me. Obviously, there's a lot of hand-to-mouth situation happening, which means that you got to put in a lot of effort to acquire customers for yourself, and that is usually a function of not enough marketing. Usually, people feel that the business model is not working because they don't have enough customers for them to validate the business model in the first place. So, are you marketing enough, my friend? And I think you should really look at the way you're generating leads for yourself. Online is an answer, but social media is not the only thing. There are so many things which are happening online for you to market yourself. So start exploring marketing and the changes which are suggested in your business model, and that will help you to see if you're in the right direction or not. So Jonathan, that was for you. Hope that was useful for you. Going to the next question. Pankaj, how important is risk appetite for business owners? Pankaj, very important. Anytime there's an investment, there's a risk. Like I told you, you need to invest 4 things in business: time, money, effort, energy. And even with money, apart from money, there's even a time effort, there's even a money effort. I've seen so many people, because they don't want to invest money in the beginning, and if they would have invested this money, they would have gotten better returns. They just invest time. And eventually after 1 or 2 years, they look back and say that I've invested so much time, I haven't got any returns. What am I doing with my life? That's also a risk, my friend. So of course, the risk appetite needs to be high. Having said that, you need to know how to manage risk, which means that you need to be prepared. You need to plan. You got to do an evaluation about these risks before you make decisions. It is a stupid idea to make decisions without evaluating your risk. I find a lot of people who probably go ahead and start investing in business only because of passion, only because they feel motivated, without doing any kind of evaluation of risk, without doing any kind of evaluation of what will be the impact of these decisions, and then later on they suffer. So yes, you need to have the right risk appetite, and the way to mitigate this appetite is to honestly just make sure that you evaluate your risk, you evaluate your decisions, evaluate the impact on finances, evaluate the impact on businesses, evaluate all the areas you feel will get impacted due to your decisions, and then move forward. Having said that, is there a guarantee that everything will work out your way? Of course not. That's how business works. That's how life works. So that was my answer for you. I think yes, the appetite needs to be high. Having said that, you need to validate and you need to evaluate it. So that was for you, Pankaj. Uh, Unmesh asked this question: which business should we start in the beginning? Oh, I don't know how to answer that question, Unmesh, because it purely depends on what are your strengths. My suggestion to you would be is that just come for the business startup webinar, and it'll put you in a direction for you to start identifying what your strengths are, and based on your strength, you will be in a situation to decide which is the right business for you. You know, I can tell you any simple businesses to start, but that's a wrong approach to take. Your business needs to make sure that it matches your capability. When people ask me what's the right business to start, I think it's a very bad approach to take, because if you are not good at it, if you don't have the domain capability and the functional capability to pull it off, then you're going to fail in that business anyway. So bottom line, that has your business for you to start has to be derived from what are your strengths, and that's your first step. So Unmesh, just come over for the business startup webinar, and you will be on the right path for you to explore what are your strengths, to understand what is the right kind of business for you to start. So that was for you. Okay, so this is the last question I'm going to answer for today. I'm running out of time. Currently, I am making service income of around 35% of my salary. Can I quit now to go full-fledged for the same? Chetan, question for you. Do you have consistency in your income in your service business right now? Number one. And if you don't, can you afford the inconsistency if you quit your job? Second question. With this 35% which you're making of your salary, is it enough to run your life? Is it enough to, pay your EMIs, pay your rent, to just run your life? And is your family willing to support you on that? And that's the second question to answer. Third question for you to answer. Do you have a clear plan? Which means that do you know how you're going to acquire more customers? Do you know how you're going to scale up? And do you know how you're going to grow your business? I believe if you have positive answers for these three questions, then you can quit your job. So I'm going to repeat. Number one, is this 35% enough to run your life? Number two, are you clear about how this is going to impact your family? And is your family going to support it? Okay, yeah, and finally, do you have a plan? It's very, very clear that you got to make sure that you have these questions for yourself, and then I would suggest take the jump. 35%, 50%, 70% doesn't matter. The point is it enough for you to run your life? And do you have the confidence that it will come consistently? Once you're clear about that, Chetan, please take the jump. No problem at all. Okay, so I think I still have a few more minutes, so I'm going to answer one more question for all of you. This is by Pawan. I'm already into trading business. Also, I'm interested to start a digital marketing company in parallel. I'm thinking to work with freelancers initially. Once I get more clients added to my company, then I will appoint full-time employees. Need your suggestions on this, whether to go with full-time employees or freelancers? Pawan, you've got the right answer. My simple philosophy is this. When you start off, if you can outsource anything, please do. Okay, so for a digital marketing agency, there's no problem in outsourcing. Just make sure that you qualify them, just make sure that you validate their quality and get into a clear agreement so that you don't have to be behind them when you're giving them workload. But it's a great way to start. And when is the right time for you to hire? When you believe that the amount of money you are paying through outsourcing, after you've got consistent income or consistent business from customers coming in, you are in a situation where you know for a fact that you have X number of customers, and that is guaranteed because of your marketing and sales efforts. And the money you are spending in outsourcing would be much more than how much you would spend for a salary for someone. That's when you hire. Yeah, and don't hire in bulk. Start with one. Optimize that one person. Make all your mistakes, because I'm going to promise you, you're going to make a lot of mistakes even when you hire people. You're going to make a lot of mistakes in managing these people. So make all your mistakes. Optimize that person's bandwidth and optimize that person's performance, and then go to the next hiring. So it's a gradual process, one step at a time. Do not hurry into it. In the meanwhile, start off with outsourcing to freelancers. It's more than enough, as long as you know that it's a much better financial proposition compared to employees. A lot of people make a big mistakes when they get 2 or 3 clients itself and they get excited and let me hire, and then they find themselves in a situation where they have employees but they have no work to give them. And that puts a different kind of financial pressure. So first outsource, then hire. You got it bang on. So thank you for that question, Pawan. So with that, guys, it's time for me to go. I think we've come to the end of our Facebook Live. I hope this was useful for all of you. If you learned a lot, do me one last thing. Please type in the comment box. Type in the comment box, learned a lot. Come on. Thank you so much, guys. So another reminder to all of you, on the 30th of May, the business startup webinar is happening from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The intention is to teach you what does it require for you to start a profitable business. What are the 4 mistakes which people make because of which they're not able to start off, and what are the 3 focus areas you got to focus on to really start a profitable business. So looking forward to seeing you guys at the webinar. The link is already posted for you. Do register for it. And if you find this Facebook Live useful, please share it with as many people as possible so more people can benefit. In the meanwhile, stay safe. See you guys soon. Have a good weekend and see you later. Bye-bye.